So before we get into your life and your work, I want to know so let's get into exactly what you do for a living right now. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. Kids get the
Okay.
truth out of us. It's career day. The kid in the back of the room is like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" What's your answer?
I'm a personal consciousness coach.
Okay. So did you have a career before this?
I was a human resource executive for 30 years
Okay.
in
Okay.
my past life or
I
past.
gotcha. Yeah. So what did you want to be when you were 12 years old? What was your dream?
I wanted to see the world.
Okay.
I didn't really think about a job at an early age, but I really wanted to travel, see the world.
Where was the first big place you traveled to that you were like, it's happening. I'm seeing the world.
Well, you're one of those European tours. If it's Tuesday, you're in Belgium or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was the big difference between being in Europe and being in America? What was the big revelation you had when you finally went there?
The differences in culture, I absolutely love and excited about how people are from different cultures are actually the same as us. They just speak a different language.
Yeah,
But it's interesting and really just sort of confirm that we're all the same.
we are. We certainly are. So take me back to where you were born and raised. What were these foundational elements that made you want to explore, that made you get into HR, that made you coach and help people expand their consciousness? How did these things happen?
Well, actually, let me start at the age of 21 when I read my first psychological profile and learned that there was a science that could understand me better than my mother, better than I understood myself. So I was fascinated. And from that point, as I grew in the HR profession, I used those tools to help others in organizations really understand how they impacted others as a leader or as a co-worker, how they communicated with each other, and really what their preferences were in terms of how they might be more successful. So it started in my first career getting really excited about the internal dialogue that's going on inside of all of us.
What was so how long did you want to be a coach? When you were in HR, how many years did this idea kind of incubate until you actually got to this point and did it?
Well, really over 40 years, over 30 years. When I left corporate America, I my first coach education was in the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and I became a career coach. So I was able to help people really sort of see what their preference would, not the job title, but how they would enjoy working, how they would enjoy continuing to learn. So I was fascinated about how people's unconscious preferences really directed their career.
So when you started coaching, did you have a client? Did you have a moment where the curtains parted and you knew that this was what you needed to be doing with your life?
Well, because I was in HR and had used had a budget to use all the tools out there, I was already really coaching before I left corporate America. So I think when I got into mediation, I started as a mediator in the judicial system, and I found out that people, when they listen to each other in a structured environment, they can solve any problem.
Yeah.
So it became, really fascinating how if people understood themselves and each other, uh, we could really solve any problem that exists.
You just tapped into something that I hadn't thought about. I mean, I have, but tangentially, but it's almost seems like that's kind of the way podcasting is. It's this
Mm,
form, right? Where
yeah,
people have this realm of discussing whatever they want to discuss in a very kind of, open yet intellectual way. And we can come to an understanding of who we are because I realize the world of podcasting is completely interior to what we get from the news. In the news,
yeah.
it's all black and white, it's bad or good. But when you
Mhm.
start getting into podcasting and you start listening to each other, you realize there's a lot of gray area and there's a lot of us that are doing the exact same things every day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
you know? Um, so who's been
And,
your hero?
and large group facilitation was another area I got into. And I absolutely loved it. To get people around a table solving their community issues was just fascinating.
But isn't that what we used to do politically speaking, and it just kind of disintegrated? I mean, that was kind of the way grassroots efforts started, was that you would get these large, and it's just turned into this alternate reality now.
Right. It was called tribal leadership.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, who's been your inspiration? Who's been kind of your heroic force in life to find your voice?
Well, it's been a lot of people, but I would say Carl Jung, the psychologist from Switzerland, who started really behavior psychology, has been the teacher of all my teachers who
Yeah.
have been, psychologists and consultants and therapists. So I would say Carl Jung really is the foundation of what I share with clients. It's the
Yeah.
foundation of personal consciousness.
I mean, the thing about psychology is, in itself, it's an awakening because a lot of people don't realize that we're swimming in this subconscious water, yet
Yes.
we're consciously up here. That all of this below affects what we do above. It's just, it's almost like having a filter and having somebody explain to you how the brain works.
Right, because our subconscious is more powerful than our conscious. So without being aware of what's going on unconsciously, we're making choices without knowing why. And so that's why I designed the course, Conversations with Your Subconscious Mind.
It's interesting. You kind of tapped into something you had said earlier on about how the choices that we make and these urges that we have,
Yes.
it could be a trauma that we don't remember that's made us do things, and right,
Absolutely.
like having a good moment or a good memory or what you thought was like the highlight of your life can totally ram up against that trauma and become a career, and maybe you don't know why you did it, or
Yes.
a partner you chose. I mean, any of those things.
Right. And I mean, much of our subconscious thoughts hopefully are positive and support us in our growth. But there are some subconscious memories that hold us back. And when you identify those, you can actually update them and
Yeah.
change how they're impacting you. It starts just with an awareness that that's what's going on, but then there are techniques for changing that subconscious memory into one that's more supportive. And it's fascinating
It,
that we have the power to change how our mind talks to us.
And it's interesting too. I hear about people that tried to tackle generational trauma that happened way, way before. And a generation will finally say, well, how did we get to this point where there was familial trauma? And then they
Mhm.
solve it so that successive generations don't have to deal with it anymore,
Yes, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, I love books on conscious parenting.
Yeah.
It really helps parents to understand that the child came from you,
Yeah.
but they're not yours. You're there to really help them develop. And your past experiences could be holding them back. It could be fascinating to really understand yourself so that you don't continue that in your child.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. In the realm of psychology, you hear about Jung, you hear about Freud, you hear about Skinner, you hear about all these figures. Who is around right now that's continuing to bring that torch and carry the baton in the world of psychology?
Well, someone told me the other day that really, Doris, you should take that on and become a speaker on that because there's really no well known person.
Yeah.
I've got teachers that are great, but they're not out there trying to market themselves as the next guru. So I don't know who others would consider to be the guru, but somebody needs to help people understand we've got a power to manage how our mind is managing us. And it's safe, it's successful, and you can self-facilitate that conversation. I
Yeah.
mean, that is so powerful to know that you could change how your mind is pushing you in directions you don't want to go in.
I read an article years ago about how doing watercolors in senior living centers will literally regrow synapses in the brain. So when I hear you talking about rerouting your brain, we're biological matter. And if we have the power to regenerate and regrow actual like fluid and matter in our brains, we can create all these avenues of creating thoughts that are better, that get
Yes,
over
yes,
negativity.
yes. And really, what I share with people that you can use for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter your age. I only work with adults with this material, and really around age 40 or above, people are ready for this. Younger people are still looking for that right person or that right job, thinking something outside of me is going to solve all my problems, versus understanding 30, 40, 50 that really there's something going on inside of me that if I can manage it, I can become all I came here to be.
And that's the beauty of age, I think. I've realized as I've gotten older is that you incubate all of these lessons and this wisdom, and you can actually manifest it and make it become whatever you want it to be, you know?
Yes.
But in your youth, like you said, you're so clouded by all these things about image and what people think and money and all of these things. When you finally get to the point where you realize the sun is starting to set, you better get to it.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. So
Absolutely.
what is it that motivates you every day to wake up, to push yourself, to grow your soul, and to help others get enlightened and do what they want to do with their lives?
Well, I believe it's because I found my purpose, the reason why I came into this life, and that's one of the services that I offer my clients as well. Finding your true purpose. I mean, we all have many purposes at different stages of life, but to understand what that purpose is that only you and your higher guidance knows, that is what wakes me up and keeps me going.
And
And if I
part
can help people understand themselves,
yeah. And part of that purpose is discovering what your real talent is. Like for you,
absolutely.
right? Like you're a coach. You're nurturing somebody to that point of understanding it themselves. I mean, it's trying finding your true talent, correct?
Yes. One of the things I learned early on when I read that first psychological profile is that I'm a flatline introvert. And introverts are interesting. The more I studied, it's like if we may not talk a lot, but if we're passionate about it, you can't shut us up.
Absolutely. Um, what's your take on the spiritual realm? I know, I mean, when we get here on this planet and we have this body and this vessel, we intellectualize and we're trying to figure it out. But do you believe in the spirit world and things on the outside that are very almost empirical, but we just can't see it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, although I focus on personal consciousness, there is medical consciousness and spiritual consciousness, and it's all the continuation. It's our life. But when you understand that what's going on in our mind that was not created by man, cannot be duplicated by man, then you know there's a higher power.
Yeah.
And you begin to go, well, if a source, my trusted source, my God, whatever you call it, has created this power within me, is there something I can do that I'm not doing?
Yeah. 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 So let me ask you this. If you were to have a dream tonight and ran into an 18-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've lived, the wisdom you gained, what advice would you give?
It's interesting you asked that question because probably around that age, my older brother said to me, "You may be done now, you dumb now, but you're going to be great as you get older." But I thought maybe it might be, in my 40s or something. I didn't realize he meant I had to wait to this age. So my younger self really didn't believe I had a purpose or a talent or a gift. It took years and decades.
Yeah. So, of all of these, of everything that you've accomplished and more importantly evolved to, what are you the proudest of?
Well, I'm the proudest now of the course that this 6 session course, Conversations with Your Subconscious Mind, because it actually changes when people change how their mind talks to them. They're shifting their life in a lot of ways. Certainly, they're shifting their feelings and their emotion, and they can see where they've been off track or where their past continues to lead them down the same path or block their progress. So I'm most proud of what I'm accomplishing now in my training and in my coaching.
What is the moment for anybody that might be out there listening that maybe is on the verge of finding their purpose and they have questions? What's the moment? What's the actual human urge for them to make to make that step forward, to reach out to you, to reach out and to figure out what's going on?
I'm not sure there is one moment as for myself and for all of my clients so far. It's really been aging, getting past having wonderful experiences, having traumas, having difficulties, getting over that, and then recognizing there's more. But it seems to happen as we mature or age. I would say it's the crossover between 30 and 40 seems to be the time frame I've noticed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to most everybody doesn't think they have a purpose, or they think what they're good at is their purpose.
Gotcha.
And I think that's one of them. But as you age, you begin to know that even though I'm good at something, what difference am I making in this lifetime?
Yeah.
And what can I give back to those who come behind me? So I can't say there's a point in time other than living. Just keep on living, and you will one day recognize perhaps I have more power to change the direction of my life or can move forward faster than I have. And it's both something within me and something above me.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you: family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone that knows you, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm here as a peaceful warrior. I wouldn't say a spiritual warrior, but more a peaceful warrior. I'm here to fight for people to become everything they're capable of becoming. So actually, some others coaches gave me that as my essence, the peaceful warrior, and I took it on and I make it me.
Yeah. So as a traveler, as someone that's thirsty for adventure, what's the most magical place, unexpectedly magical place you've traveled to on the planet?
My mind.
I like it.
Yeah, the tool that really is the foundation of everything I do is developed by Carl, or mentioned first by Carl Jung, called active imagination. If we can imagine something, it becomes real. You see, I didn't know my father. He died when I was 2. But I had a conversation with him, facilitated by another trainee in an active imagination class. That actually showed me that I was loved. And I didn't know that without that. But if you can experience it in your mind and experience it in your heart, it becomes real.
Wow. That's totally
Yes.
true. So if anyone wants to take the next step, they want to reach out, they want to hire you, they want to learn more, how do they do that?
My website is not the deepcoachingportal.com.
Okay.
That, yes, that come to the Deep Coaching Portal and let's talk. I offer opportunities for free sessions or free conversations, 15 minutes, at the convenience of your clients.
Wonderful. I
Yes.
will put all of that in the show notes. What an illuminating conversation, Coach Doris. Thank you so much for your time.
I
Thank you for your
enjoyed this.
wisdom.